Hi, I'm Lady Rose of Goddess Garage, and I hope you're having a good whatever part of your day you happen to be joining me with. I hope it's going well. I wanted to get on here because I felt compelled, for whatever reason, to say some of these things that I've been writing down. And maybe someone needs to hear this. Maybe it's going to be the guide for the day. I don't know. I do have my crystal that Archangel Raphael brought me or gave to me. And so I have kind of become a vessel for him to relay whatever somebody out there needs. So I hope this helps. And thank you for joining me. And if you like me enough, please subscribe. My kids tell me, you don't say that enough in your videos. So I'm trying to do good for social media stuff. So please subscribe to my channel and like this video, make a comment, what you would like to see more of, that sort of thing. You can also support me by going to Ko-Fi .com/goddessgarage. You can make a little donation if you want, or you can order one of my services. I do them online as well, so no matter what part of the world you're in, we can probably figure something out. Anyways, I digress. So I wanted to get on here and, like I said, keep it fairly short. Too late. But the most important and longest relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. Right? By practicing and accepting who you are right now and loving that person as they sit right now, who you are, that soul that you love, that you're going to love unconditionally. It doesn't mean tweaks can't happen. Of course, we're all masterpieces in progress, right? And it means when you start loving yourself and nurturing the relationship with yourself, that's when you start to grow. I bring this up because I was with someone a couple of days ago, a client who is making the first steps of self-awareness and, was very much sort of, oh, this is the way, and this is like, do you know? And I know I've been guilty of that. Hey, did you know this thing that I just found out? It's like those memes that go around. There was one that was a cookie sheet. I called it a cookie sheet. I didn't realize it was a cooking sheet. And it's like, how did I go 40 years, 50 years, whatever, and not know this, right? So a lot of this sort of soulful practice is very much, you find it yourself and you think you want to share with everyone, which is great, but some of us already know it, some of us don't, that sort of thing. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I was watching them as they spoke, and it was a beautiful thing to see them grow and expand a little bit. And, they're not ready to take on different things yet, but they've taken on one thing, and that's amazing, right? And the practice of accepting yourself as you are. Now, it's great to, be aware of your fallacies, your weaknesses, bad habits, whatever you want. Bringing awareness to it is really the first step, right? The second step is loving yourself for who you are right now, warts and all, right? And being ready for that change. Now, sometimes people stay in self-awareness for a very long time because they think they're self-aware now. I'm aware that I'm not great at this, or not, I'm, lazy, or I lie a lot, or, bad type habits that maybe people have. I don't brush my teeth at night and that sort of thing. I'm mentioning that because I am very good about brushing my teeth at night and at morning. So yay me. So the practice of loving yourself, though, doesn't lead to perfection. And that's what a lot of people sort of mistakenly think. I want to tweak, I want to improve, so I become the perfect version of myself. And that's all well and good to have that intention, but most likely it's not going to happen. I can hear my drum vibrating behind me here. But practice of loving yourself isn't leading to perfection. Instead, practice of this leads to wanting to approve. Self-awareness, great. Now you have to love yourself in that energy that you are in with all its warts as you are right now. And just, I love practicing that both on myself and other people. I'm becoming much more aware of not just changes or improvements, but knowing when the time is right to make those moves and to gently guide or forcefully guide. Sometimes the universe whacks you upside the head and goes, come on. But, oftentimes I am that vessel for the voice they need to hear, the voice they need to come back into touch with themselves, right? And they may have heard it from other people. But sometimes, it's weird. Like, have you ever, as a little kid, come home to your mother and said, did you know I learned this? La, 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 and did you know that was a thing? And she'll be like, I told you that 1,000 times. But it wasn't until you heard it from a friend or someone outside of mom that you like, oh, yeah, she's right. You might not always say she's right, but you'll come to her with the news, breaking news of this newfound knowledge that she already knew and had already told you. But again, it's learning to practice loving yourself as you are right now. So from improvement, the willingness to change. Like, it's all well and great when an alcoholic reaches rock bottom and chooses that, decides that, becomes aware of that it's a problem and it needs to change. Now, that needing to change is definitely a fork in the road, right? It's like, yes, I'm aware of the need to change. Do I want to? Or am I going to continue drinking? Right? Because not every alcoholic that hits rock bottom and becomes aware of the fact that they're alcoholic, that's, like I said, the first step. But then they have to choose to want that change. And they have to choose that before or after. Self-awareness, and then loving yourself as the alcoholic you are right now. Because then you can heal and you can practice making that change, right? But there's always a decision. And as any addict will tell you, drugs, alcohol, whatever it might be, it's a choice you have to make, not just every day, but many times in a day, especially when you first start. But even still, like, even if you've been clean for years, you're still having to make that choice of, I don't want to do drugs, I don't want to do alcohol, whatever the addiction might be. It's still there. It's just you've learned mastery and discipline of it. And that comes through love and the willingness to change. And the willingness to change is humbling yourself. And, really knowing that the progress of me, of my soul, needs to go down the path of resisting, right? Like, not wanting to give in to the drugs. Sorry, I got a hair on my face. So like I said, it leads to improvement rather than perfection when you choose to love yourself, right? And from improvement comes beautiful hope. So hope for more improvement. Yes, because you can always improve, right? You can always get better. It's not going to happen right out of the box. Like, some people sit down to a couple of piano lessons and think, why am I still playing hot cross buns? Like, can I play Mozart's Fifth? No, no, you can't, is the answer. You can try and you can practice. And the more you practice, the better you get. And therefore you can go to Mozart's Fifth and play it, depending on how old you are and, and all that kind of stuff. But it takes years, right? And this is what our society doesn't always embrace, because they want instant. How can you be better in 9 days, or, go on this week-long diet and I'll make you fit. Or, the big one for me has been, because I'm a little bit older, I'm pushing 60, but they've got I get all these ads about, are you old? Do you want to get back into shape? Give me 28 days and sitting in a chair doing exercises. Don't get me wrong, I've done some of them. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this could work. But it's like, oh, and they put a time in 28 days, you'll be a totally different person. And often these kind of things come up as physical things, right? Not mental or spiritual or anything else, right? But like I said, the practice of loving yourself leads to improvement, not perfection. And from improvement comes hope. And you can always improve, okay? From hope, because you never want to lose hope, right? And hope isn't always optimistic and unrealistic and these things, oh, so Pollyanny-ish. It's like, no, hope isn't always that. I am very optimistic. I do like to look at the better part, the lighter part, the more colorful part of a situation, and I'm not one to get bogged down in being overwhelmed, being stagnant, because I'm fight, flight, fawn, freeze. Sometimes I freeze, don't get me wrong, but I've learned to, in the few beats after freezing or feeling overwhelmed or feeling some anxiety, I sit with it. I give myself a minute. Okay, let's take a minute. Let's look at it. Why are you filled with overwhelmment? Why are you filled with anxiety? Ask yourself why, and then ask yourself, what is it really? And most of those kinds of feelings lead you to fear of something. Fear of rejection, fear of being embarrassed, fear of abandonment is a big one. Fear. So hope can help pull you out of fear. And from hope comes faith. And I'm not talking religious faith. I'm talking faith in oneself. Faith that it can be done. Faith opens you up. Because oftentimes we go into a scary situation, a fearful situation, an anxiety or overwhelming feeling of this situation, and we can't see the forest for the trees a lot of the time. And faith allows us, because we think this is the only path to get through this, faith shows us all the paths. There's a few paths that you could pick. Some might be harder, some might be easier. And don't be afraid to double back. If you go down this path and you go, nope, you can double back and pick another path, So that's the faith. The faith comes that it can be done. This too shall pass. That's the only constant in our life, in our being, in everything, including the universe. This too shall pass. And from hope and faith comes a big one. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. The acceptance of one's self as you are. Now here's the kicker. And the acceptance of others as they are. So this is the line that really brought me to bring this today. Because with that client I was telling you about that, is aware, self-awareness, they think they've done a lot of work, which they have. I'm not, negating the work that they've done, but I was getting a sense that they felt they were done. I brought the self-awareness, now I know, and, on we go. And, I did probe them a little bit with, do you want to change some of these things? Do you want to, maneuver to a different path? No, I'm very self-aware. Okay. So I kind of sat back a little bit, and I'm always ready to help people, but sometimes people just want to be where they are. And I had to remind myself, you're not just there to, give advice or guidance or whatever, or messages sometimes. You're there. Your primary there is, for me, is to be the compassionate witness. When they start talking about self-awareness and some of the things they've become self-aware of, I just have to witness it. And that's all they need from me. And I have to look at myself and go, yeah, maybe, I don't have to be the all-knowing, all-seeing Lady Rose as much as I'd like to be. I'm not. So I sat back and I purposely and mindfully told myself, love this person as they are right now. And celebrate who they are right now. Forgive. Don't put judgment or the need to change on them just yet. Because the need to change will happen. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. Every situation is different. So hope and faith bring forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself, because I do get a lot of clients go, I wish I knew that when I was 20 or 25 or whatever. Yeah, there's lots of things that we didn't know because we were 20 and 25 and we had to go through some of the stumbling blocks and some of the hardships and whatnot in order to be the person that we are today. So hope and faith bring forgiveness. Acceptance as you are right now. Love whoever you are. And love the things that you would, want to get rid of, kind of thing, right? But love others as they are. And learning to forgive others even when you feel justifiably angry. The further you get into meditation and mindfulness, the more things slide off your back. When I was talking with this person about self-awareness and whatnot, I realized I have to sit back because I'm becoming confrontational, because you want them to see, right? And maybe they're not ready to see. Maybe this is what they need to see first, and sit with it. I'm always saying take the sacred pause. But when someone needs the sacred pause who's in front of me, sometimes I push and I have to learn not to. And learning when discerning when it's needed, right? That's part of my journey. Now, from hope and faith and forgiveness, all those three things, comes love. True love. To understand all is to forgive all and to love all. Loving is not condoning, by the way, nor is forgiving. That's why I never say it's okay now when someone needs forgiveness or asks me for forgiveness. I don't say it's okay, because that's condoning. But I accept your apology, or I'm really sorry for what I did. Don't tell me it's okay, because it's not, and just tell me you forgive me. Right? We need to change that vernacular a little bit, because a lot of people get confused with forgiving and condoning. They're not the same thing. Two separate things. And from all of this, so we've got hope that brings faith, that brings forgiveness, that brings love, and binds them all together. Okay? And from all this comes compassion and charity. A love beyond oneself. So one thing I talked about was to be of service to others. And the more you get into meditation and mindfulness, you'll find, I need to be of service. And you're of service quietly, without needing the accolades of how amazing are you, right? And service in the capacity that you can give. But always be aware of those opportunities to be of service, right? So compassion and charity, that comes with all four of those other things: faith, or hope, faith, forgiveness, and love. Compassion, so we're leveling up a little bit, Compassion is different from empathy. Empathy means you feel what that other person is. You can definitely identify what's going on inside. I have that ability, and often I'm telling clients, oh, did you feel this way? Were you thinking that? And they're like, yeah, how did you know? I'm an empath, so I feel it very easily. However, compassion is different. Compassion is empathy mixed with the want to want good for others, want improvement. I see that you're suffering. Empaths, they can see you're suffering. Having compassion is saying, here, let me help you, let me be of service to you, let me, show you a different way that maybe will improve what you're trying to do or whatever. That's compassion. Compassion is having empathy and wanting to improve, help, whatever that soul needs. Charity is to be kind to others, and like I said earlier, to be of service to others. Like I say, the deeper you go into this, the more you realize I want to be of service, because it's helping you, and I'm showing compassion, and it's helping my soul. In fact, I should be grateful for the opportunity to help you. And like a lot of people have questioned that, like, should I help this person? Should I not? Blah, blah, blah. Especially when it comes to like homeless people, for instance, who are begging on the streets, and a lot of people will place judgment there and want to give them a sandwich or a drink or something else because they're afraid they're going to spend the money incorrectly. And you're taking that free will decision away from them and saying, hey, here's what I'll give you instead because I'm judging you. Whereas if you gave them the money, they might very well, oops, almost knocked a candle over. They might very well spend it on drugs or alcohol. However, that's their decision to make. You are not God. And giving money should be done without strings. Here you go. I hope you find your way. I hope you buy some healthy food with it instead of blah, 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 right? And you have all that hope. Now you have faith in humanity. Then you have forgiveness. And then you have compassion and charity and love, right? So charity is to be of service to others, a love beyond oneself. But it has to happen with yourself. None of the other things come into your world until you learn to love yourself truly, madly, deeply. Because you are so, so precious. You are loved. You were created in divine's image. Who are you to knock down the creation of the divine? We're all beautiful souls. Each and every one of us. Because we were created by the divine. But only once you accept yourself in love will you be able to see that you will never be lonely again. Talk to your angel. Everyone gets a guardian angel. You don't have to believe in God or whatever. That's a myth. Just talk to your angel. They want so badly to talk to you. And they want to show you some signs and direction. You can ask for a sign, by the way. You don't have to I hope I get a sign, whatever it might be. You can say, I want a crow, I want a rose, I want, anything. I want a dime to show me the way. You can pick a number, you can pick a color, whatever it might be. I do have to warn you about the angels, though. The one thing is, when you request something, like let's say, show me the color blue, suddenly everything will be blue. And they're sending you all kinds of blue things. And they sometimes do it in pun form or, is she going to see what I did there kind of form. It's the only fun they get. Come on. So ask them for a sign. Make their life happy, because they love to give us signs. They love to be there for us. That's their job. And they want to do it because they do understand how precious you really are. So love yourself. Have hope, have faith, have compassion, charity, love, missing one. Faith, hope, and forgiveness. That's the big one. So I hope this helps to whoever might see it. And thank you again for joining me. This is relatively short for me. I'm very long-winded. I think it's my Irish side. No, actually, it could be my native side too. I'm Mohawk as well. And I've heard the creation story, the true big creation story takes like 7 days to tell. So maybe I'm getting it from both sides. I don't know. But short for me is like under half an hour. But I'm so happy if you've stayed and watched it all. And again, I hope you subscribe and like this and make a little comment. Please be kind in your comments, of course. And go away knowing you're precious, knowing you're never alone. That's it for me. Okay, bye.